Welcome to the virtual open day for the International School of Zug and Luzern. Let's join the presentation in progress.
Then we'll meet the team.
Okay, thanks, Colleen. So for those who don't know me, I'm Jenny Watto, and I'm an admissions officer here at school. So my role is to welcome new families to the school, to understand about what it is they're looking for their young child's education, and to support them if they do decide to go through an application process. Families always have a lot of questions, and every child and every family is unique, and I'm here to support you with that. I also have two children at the school, and both of my children joined the school aged 3, so I have first-hand experience of our early years programme, and I know very well the decision-making process and the experience of having young children in an international school, so it's something that I can share as well. So I'm going to pass over to Meryl to say hello.
Everybody, wonderful to be here with you, and thank you for giving us your time. We're sorry we can't give you a beautiful sunshiny day, but we hope we can bring a little bit of sunshine to you as we talk passionately about the school. As I said, my name's Meryl Zura. I am the primary school principal, the head of Zug campus, and it's been my pleasure to serve here at the school for 11 years. I'm originally from Australia, where I served in the IB school there also as an administrator, and I did notice someone was currently at Shanghai. I also spent a few years in Shanghai serving in international schools, so it's great to find something in common with people. And I'm going to hand over to back to Jenny or on to Michelle, the assistant principal.
Hi everyone, I'm Michelle Hill. I'm the assistant principal with responsibility for the early years. I've been at ISZL for many years. I have a doctorate in early childhood education and 30 years of experience in early childhood working with young children, many of those here. I'm feeling very lucky to be back in school this week. We're really delighted to have been able to have a partial reopening. So I'm sitting here in the heart of kindergarten, hoping that nobody's going to walk through my door. I have got a sign up, but children usually ignore them. But I can hear children outside, and it's great to get that energy from them and be back where we should be. I hope this session gives you more information, I suppose, about the school, but also helps you see how we can support you with your child's learning.
Michelle, before I start handing you back to Colleen, I just wanted to give you an outline for our programme now. So we're just going to talk you through a little bit about our school, who we are. We want to tell you about our learning programmes and how we could help your child, your young child, to grow as a learner. We'd like to take you on a learning environment tour virtually, so that you can see some of our learning spaces and where your child would be learning if they were to join us, or when they do join us. And at the end we'll have our question and answer session. So I would really welcome your questions throughout, please.
So I'm going to start a little bit with our school. As I mentioned, I'm the Director of Learning here at ISZL, and I have the pleasure of working with everyone across the school, regardless of age or grade level. This is my first year here at ISZL, and at this point it's my 5th international school, all of them in that early years through grade 12 program, which is unique and special to my heart, and I'll try not to go on too long, but it's clearly one of my favorite subjects. So before we really start to dig into our early years and our primary school program more intimately, we did think it'd be helpful to have a little bit more sense of the school. And most likely, you've seen our mission, you've seen our vision on the website, so I'm not going to read it to you. But I do want to talk about what it means to us as a community. And you can see from the very first line that we really do see ourselves as a community, and that includes you. Parents are welcome on campus. We have parent groups that are there to provide support for each other. And we really see this as a partnership. Your partnership matters to us. So these two statements really do highlight what matters to us most. Cultivating a spirit of inquiry matters. And you're going to hear how much this really drives what that instruction, what that engagement looks like with our youngest learners. But this really does carry through for the whole journey of ISZL. We are what you call an international baccalaureate continuum program. That's a lot of words that may mean absolutely nothing, but what it does mean is that from the beginning all the way through graduation, we're very focused, we're very cohesive in developing students that have an intercultural mindset and are eager to make the world a better place. It also means that we're one of 19 schools in the world that provide this program. So it makes us unique because of that cohesive vision, but it also means that we can attract some of the best educators from around the world. And that is certainly one of the reasons I'm here. I think in the same way that you're attracted to the program, educators from around the world are attracted to the program and really eager to be a part of something that pushes them to be their best self, their best practitioner, really in service of all kids thriving. So you may, like I said, be able to tell I love talking about this, but I am going to hand it over to Meryl so that she can kind of take this big picture and bring it down to the intimacy of the primary school and more specifically what it looks like for your child. So Meryl?
Thanks, Colleen. Yeah, I guess I also want to say my background is also early childhood and early primary years education, and a reading specialist. And even though I haven't been a teacher for some years, been leading, I guess that's the true passion where things started. And I'm thinking about your journey now. I guess for some of you, you're beginning your journey into bringing your child to school. It's a very exciting time. For some of you, you're looking for what fits what you as a family want for your child. And we very much recognize that every family, and of course we have families from 58 nations of the world, they bring with them their own background, beliefs, and experiences about what they're seeking in education. We respect that people make the right choice for their family. And I guess that reflects why we're so family orientated as well. So I guess it's a time of sharing today. Of course, we can't be with you and bring you into the school. It's very important that you get a feel for a school. And generally that's experienced by coming into the school. But I hope today, as you interact with those of us that serve here, that you get a sense of the school as well through the people that you meet. Of course, if you haven't been to the campus, you will know we're nestled on the side of the hill of the Mount Barberg. So we're surrounded by beautiful green forests. That's a wonderful setting for the school. Some people are concerned that, it's a very large school with quite a few children, but we do have very specialised, dedicated areas just for our early years children, dedicated classroom areas and a dedicated outdoor learning area and play space for the children where only the youngest children are. So it might be a big school, but it has lots of small school benefits as well. So as you begin this journey, we want to share a little bit about how we work with the children. As Colleen said, these ways of thinking about children, these beliefs we hold and the practices are not only for our early years students, but they carry through the PYP, the primary years program. I like to think that coming to a school like ISZL is a wonderful choice for young children, because I believe that really we're shaping the foundations for lifelong learning for young children. Some people kind of think it's best to invest in maybe children's education higher up, but I've always held the belief it's so important to invest early because you set the foundations. You set the foundations for what children think about themselves as a learner. And that's shaped by the experiences they have, the feelings they have about learning. And so we want to provide a very positive environment for young children, where we're very intentional about the type of learning engagement we provide for them, and how we set up the environment to allow them to explore, to allow them to have choice, to follow their interests, because they're highly motivated about different things at different times. And we want to nurture these dispositions about learning in the children. And I think that's what the PYP program provides us. We want children to talk about what's interesting to them. We want them to be questioners, always curious and wondering about the world around them. And as teachers, we want to listen carefully to what children have to say. They have wonderful ideas and wonderful theories, and that's central to our program, and it's really highly valued. We see children as competent and capable learners from 3 years old when they step in, and we take them from where they're at and build on to their own interests in our program. It's very important, of course, that to recognise all of our theories about teaching and learning are research-based, and these are carried forward by our highly qualified teachers. One wonderful thing is that we have a high retention rate, and this very much supports continuity for our children and for our learning program. It's a strength of our school that we don't have a huge turnover of staff. That's important as we develop our programs as well. And also the teachers are engaged in ongoing professional learning. I'm sure you know we're living in the age of knowledge explosion. There is so much literature out there for us to read, and certainly technology has allowed us to see how do children learn best, and how does that influence our practices at school. So we're engaged with this ongoing conversation through our IB, our network of schools, that we stay current with current pedagogical approaches. I'm sure you've had opportunity to read on the website, and there seems to be so much to tell you today, so I hope that I'm able to answer some of your questions. If you did see the diagram that I think came up on the screen, it is one of the primary years program, but I guess I just want to highlight the main thing, and that is that the learner is at the centre, and I think that's what is at the heart of our program. We start with the child. We start with the relationship with the child, getting to know the child. As I've mentioned to you, children come from 58 countries of the world, they're multilingual, and we want to know who is this child, where are their interests, where are their needs, and we know the best person to ask is you, the parent. Of course, parents know the most about their child, so the partnerships we share with parents are extremely important. So I guess we can kind of see it as a triangle with the school, the teacher, the child and the parent working closely together in support of their education at ISZL. Secondly, I talked briefly about being very intentional about how we set up our environments, and Michelle will talk more to that. Very intentional about the type of resources we select for children. We love to set up provocations for children to wonder and to question, and to provide dialogue around ideas, maybe around nature. It's wonderful to go out into our outdoor learning area and see the children in the garden or down in the scientific pond looking at the creatures that are swimming around down there, and to listen to their theories about the world as they learn. We do have a range of specialist teachers that support our learners. So apart from their class teacher and early years assistant teacher, so 2 adults working with the children, we have a performing arts specialist, so working with music, drama and movement, a specialised PE teacher who sets up amazing obstacle courses and engages children in wonderful outdoor activities in the playground, as well as leading our forest learning program, taking our children down to the Hollogrotten area, where we find a beautiful area for the children with a creek running through it. So that's part of the outdoor learning program. Also, we do have a technology specialist that supports our teachers and students in the use of technology. Of course, we can talk on about how does technology fit in the early years. We do see a place for it, but in a very balanced way. We also have an English as an additional language teacher, so supporting those children from kindergarten who come in with English as an additional language. We have a wonderful nursing team, so we've got a lot of people around us with expertise that supports holistically the learner. So I hope that's given you some insights to the quality of our program, what's important to us as we move forward. I'm going to hand back over to Colleen.
Actually, the exciting thing is Michelle's going to speak on the next topic and bring us right into that question around what does the day look like? Some of those questions are starting to pop up a little bit, Michelle, as well as what does instruction and engagement look like? So I'm going to hand it over to you, pull up a couple of pictures to give us a sense of the power of the environment, and switch us right now.
Thank you. I wanted to add just a couple of things onto what Meryl was talking about with the PYP, the Primary Years Programme. I mean, it gives us a framework for the curriculum, but I think very much we would say that the curriculum is negotiated, we call it, in the early years, because we are really always taking into account children's interests and the observations that the teachers make about the children. Yes, we do have the framework for the curriculum, and we have really interesting and engaging units of inquiry that the teachers work with, but we're constantly looking at what are the children interested in and what do they bring to their learning that we can take them further with. It's also important, I think, for you to know that there are 5 approaches to learning that teachers are looking at with the children. Communication skills be the first one. I mean, it's hugely important, as we know, particularly for our youngest learners, beginning with oral language as a foundation for further language learning. We know that children are learning language, they're learning through language, and they're learning about language. And we want to ensure that the oral language has a firm basis in the early years. It's crucial for all later learning. We also look at self-management skills. We want children to be able to organise their belongings, to we think about them as regulating their behaviour. We want them to be able to be independent and, as Meryl said, to make choices about their learning. We also focus on social skills, hugely important, research skills and thinking skills. And the end of year reports that we get where teachers write at the end of the year focus on those areas. As an example, thought I'd give you an example of a unit of inquiry that's happening actually in EY2 at the moment. And it's actually starts with a question: what happens to things that we don't need anymore? And the children are really coming up with some such interesting theories about, yeah, what happens to things. So of course it could go down the kind of route of recycling and what we do with things, but of course the children are they've also been upcycling, so making things out of things that other people don't need anymore, and using maker spaces to explore materials. So that's just a little bit more about the units of inquiry and the PYP.
Michelle, may I jump in very quickly before I shift us into the structure of the day and a little bit more around instruction? Some questions are coming in, and you're speaking very eloquently about language and the role of language. Mm-hmm. How does that relate to German, for example? Where does that play in the program?
Okay. I guess maybe it'll come up a little bit more when I talk about the structure of the day, but I guess I would say, yeah, German is part of the planned curriculum for EY1, from EY1 all through the school. We have a commitment in school to developing multilingualism. The German in EY1 and 2, we have a German early years German teacher. She goes into the classes. I'll talk to you more about that in a moment in the morning meetings. And we really want to see German as an authentic experience as much as possible. So in EY1 and EY2, there's the morning meeting. The German teacher maybe does some singing. She joins outdoor learning. She comes in and has lunch with the children. She joins on the forest visits. So there's the focus really is on greetings, songs and rhymes, vocabulary of the classroom, and counting and numbers. They'd be the kind of focus areas, if you like, for the German program in EY1 and EY2. In kindergarten, they have 4 German sessions a week with their class, and the German teacher goes into the class for 45 minutes a day to work with the children. There is also, the cultural aspect of German, and I'll talk a little bit more about that structure of the day. So yeah, for all the children, drop-off is between 8:30 and 8:50. So you've got time to park and walk to the old schoolhouse for EY1, or into our Rigi building for EY2. And kindergarten. You can drop your children at the door, or you can come in, maybe you want to see the teacher for a few moments before school starts. You're very welcome on campus. Of course, we try to encourage the children to be independent, but they'll come in, change their shoes and hang up their clothes. They've got obviously they've got their own hooks and little boxes for all their things. I mean, as we talked about, it's very much a partnership, and it's also very much about children owning the space. And children bring things from home that they want to share, and things go back home from school that they maybe want to share with you too. It's important that children have a sense of space and feeling of belonging. We want children to feel that they belong in. I guess I would say that each class, they have a morning meeting. It's an important ritual. They talk about the day ahead, the possibilities for their learning. They make decisions about their learning. So in EY1, they talk about, which room will they go into today. We have 4 rooms set up for the EY1 students, and the children can move between them. We call it free flow. And they can make those decisions. So they might be cooking in one room, they might be singing, they go to the library, it could be a forest day, or the teacher will have set up a provocation for them. It's always interesting when you walk in, you never really know what to expect. Children all have outdoor learning twice a day. So for EY1 and EY2, they go outside. There's the sand, the mud kitchen, the garden area. We even have the cows. I think there was a picture earlier of the cows, which is always a highlight when they come into the field at the back. And they're all supported outside by the early years team, as Meryl said, our PE teacher, performing arts teacher. We have an early years librarian, the early years ed tech coach. They all help in the outdoor space. So there's lots of people out there. And it's a planned outdoor learning program. And then at noon, the children who stay for half a day, they can leave. And for those that stay, they can have a hot lunch if they would like to have one here, cooked on site, or they can bring lunch from home. In EY1 and EY2, those that need to have a rest, they do have time to have a rest. In EY1 particularly, we have little beds that we put out, and those that really need to have a rest, they can have a rest. And those that don't usually work on kind of quieter activities for a little while, then they have the afternoon session, another outdoor learning, and then it's time to pick up. And that happens outside the classroom. You come along and meet the teacher will bring them out and meet them and greet them for the end of the day. So it's very much a small school feel, I think, as Meryl said, because we set up the schedule so that there's never, the whole school isn't on the move all at one time. So and the playground, it's a shared space, and we have schedules so that there's never a great amount of children outside at one time.
There are some good questions coming up, so we can kind of use those maybe to guide some observation. So let me go ahead and pull up the slides. And the first thing that it would be really helpful to get some information on, Michelle, and I'm going to take us backwards in the slide. So hold your hats, everyone. We're gonna journey backwards for 1 minute. And if you could speak a little bit more to how big our class size is, and what does specifically literacy instruction look like, that reading and writing piece for young learners. So I'm back in the classroom here, giving a sense of the space. And if you could address those 2 questions, I have more in the docket for you after those 2.
Okay. So the class sizes in EY1, we have up to 14 students in the class, and with a teacher and an assistant. And from EY2 upwards, it's 20 is the maximum. There's a picture of a classroom there, I think, on your screens at the moment. That's an EY2 classroom. And I think you can see, hopefully you'll see that, the classroom reflects the principles that guide our work with the children. I think Meryl said, we see children as being competent and capable and having choices in their learning. And so you'll see that you'll see a role play area there. And the materials that we choose, they're all intentionally chosen. They're open-ended, flexible. We want to promote creativity and abstract thinking, which is crucial for later learning. I don't think you can see in those pictures, but I'll talk to it anyway. There's all classes have a reading corner. We have an amazing library, and there's a picture there. That's Kim, our early years librarian. The teachers all set up, class library, so there's always access to books and reading at all times for the children. Of course, the teachers all, recognise the huge importance of literacy. In EY1 and EY2, there's lots of stories. There's mark making in every classroom. There's times when children are encouraged to make marks and to read. I guess read their own writing. That's how we would say it. So children drawing is a huge part of reading, and the more formal literacy, happens in kindergarten. We have a readers and writers workshop, so every day children are writing every day and reading every day. We have guided readers that come home back and forth. Teachers will be talking to you and helping you with your role in children's literacy.
For a second, I'm conscious of time, and I want to get a couple other questions
Okay, go.
into the room, and we can buzz back and forth.
Okay.
Just a quick shout out to everyone. Thank you for your questions. Helpful. Clearly, there's so much to celebrate and so much to share. So this really helps us put in front of you what is most relevant for you. And one of those questions that keeps coming up again and again is after school care. Meryl, if you could jump in and maybe share where we are in that.
Great. Yes, I guess we're always listening to our community, gathering feedback, and that's something that has come to us from particularly working parents to say we really need this support. So we will be opening out of our school care next year. We're in the beginning stages of the planning process around how it will look, but at this stage it'll definitely be provided to working parents after school till 6 o'clock at night. And if you come into the school, there'll be an application process.
Beautiful, thank you. And then another question that's coming up that maybe you want to start to tackle, and I'm happy to jump in as well, is obviously we are in such a unique time with the pandemic. Can you just share a little bit how we've been able to ensure that kids continue learning during this time, what it's looked like in terms of their transition back to school, which is very exciting that we're beginning to reopen campus again, and then where we are in terms of our decision for the fall.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can say we're all going through something we've never had to go through before, or even ever thought we would go through before. We've had some big guiding principles that have helped the leadership team of the school, working with our nursing staff and our communications team, to think through the best decisions. And I'd say as leaders, those decisions have weighed quite heavily on our shoulders as we look at all the data around us, reading articles, looking at what's coming out from the Swiss authorities and also the Gemeinde, and navigating a path through for our community, which is unique in itself. And I guess the well-being and safety of students and staff and families has been our priority. Secondly, the continuation of learning plan, which the teachers put into place in the primary school. This is a document called, you may know it if you're already part of the school, the MOSCO, which stands, it basically says what children must do, could do, would do. We've used this consistently across the school to support families so that they're always engaged with the same document. Doesn't matter if you're in KG or grade 3 or grade 5, it looks the same. So our teachers work collaboratively with the specialist teachers to establish that document and post it for the children. We're very fortunate to have a number of great technological platforms that our students are quite familiar with, things like Seesaw. They're using Google, the Google environment as well. So that's how we're communicating with the children at home, and also through our Schoology platform, which is a virtual learning environment that we use to communicate with students and families. So that's been going quite well, and it gives people choice. Of course, not everybody feels they want to return to school, so we respect that we need to give our families choice, and also that we are responsive, that we can be responsive no matter what the journey ahead is, that we can respond and be flexible and adaptable. And we feel that that's been a positive part of this process for us. We've had to ask our teachers, of course, to be a little flexible and adaptable as we've shifted the program to online. I think we're doing well as a team. We've had good feedback from the parents that it's been professionally organised, and I can certainly say we've had our second group of students back today. Lots of happy faces. They move around the classrooms to be back and connecting with each other. And we realise that children need both emotional and social support as they transition back to school from being away from school for 8 weeks and having learning look different.
Excellent, thanks. And I will say, maybe some of you who are part of our community already have noticed that we have some Grammy-winning videos going out in terms of our morning meetings, in terms of welcoming learners into their day. So our teachers have really stepped up to the plate and are doing amazingly creative work. In terms of the fall, a number of people are asking if we've made the decision of what the fall would look like. And obviously, we are making decisions almost daily of what is the best thing to do for the community, what is the best thing to do for learners. Our hearts and our dreams, of course, are to be up and running as usual, and we're doing everything we can to put those safety measures in place to ensure that our community, our teachers, our families remain safe, and we'll just continue to communicate as we learn more. This week, like Meryl said, really marked the reopening of campus. Our kids are amazing in terms of them really understanding how to keep teachers safe, how to wash their hands more than they've probably ever washed their hands. And so we continue to learn as a community in ways that make sure that we have the best school and the safest school for you to return to or come to. Any other questions out there, team? We are very excited to be up and running again as usual, even though I am not doing the most fabulous job on Zoom today. Trust us, we are so much better in person. How about any other questions coming in? It seems like we are getting through most of them. Jenny, I'm gonna hand it back to you to maybe guide us towards the finish line. I will say, if by chance we missed one or it was very particular to your family, I will go ahead, make sure Jenny has access to those, and I know she will be following up with you individually.
Great, thank you, Colleen. I hope that's been interesting to everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. If you still have questions, as Colleen said, that we've not been able to answer today, or if you would like to continue this conversation about your young child and what you're looking for their education, then please do get in touch with us, get in touch with me or anybody in the admissions department.